Welcome to another edition of FM Corner. I'm Danny Koontz. I'm your host. I'm the Director of Relationship Management for Windy City Equipment. Today we're going to talk about the difference in a customer when he's angry or when he's upset. You say, well, it's the same difference. They're mad. And no, it's not. One kind of triggers it. The second one, a lot of work to do. We're going to talk about that today, the difference. We all have customers to serve. We've spoke about that many times. Doesn't mean you could be a facility person, your customer's your operational team. If you're a vendor, it's the people in the companies that you serve, the restaurants, the locations, people. We all have all the same. And one key factor is knowing the difference between when the customer's angry and when they're upset. Typically, it starts out, the customer gets angry. And he gets angry for one specific item that didn't go the way it should. For instance, you're scheduled to be at the restaurant at 9 o'clock, and because your first call was at 7, it took longer than you planned because there were bigger issues than you thought. You didn't get to the 9 o'clock call till 10:30. Again, that's an estimate. But you know, in the restaurant business, they don't listen to estimates. So you're late. Customer's a little bit angry. Not upset yet, but he's just angry over this one issue. You come in, you start your work, you get their problem taken care of, you let them know what the bill's going to be or what was found and how you took care of it, or you couldn't complete the call, you have to get parts, whatever it may be. You do that part, you do it correctly, customer doesn't seem as angry. Because whether you were there at 9 or at 10:30, you still got the same issue. He might remember it, but he's typically not angry. If you compound his initial anger, not only are you late, but you take 3 phone calls while you're there, you're in and out of the building, he doesn't know what's going on, you may finish the job, you may leave without meeting with him or taking the time to explain what happened. Now he's angry. Now he's mad. You took an issue and you compounded it. So the key issue is when you run into a customer who's initially angry, do everything in your power, do everything you can to calm that situation down so it doesn't blow in to being upset. Once he gets upset, that's a really heavy hill to climb. Because I'm not trying to fix one thing for him. Now I'm trying to fix 2 or 3 different reasons that have just made him madder. Now, every reason in the world, he's thinking to himself, why did I call you? Because I had all these problems. Whereas if he's only initially angry because we're a little late, that means we got other customers. When I used to call a customer, or as a facility manager, I would call a vendor to show up. And every time I called that vendor, he showed up within 20 minutes. I got really nervous. And I know that doesn't sound right. That sounds crazy. But I got really nervous because I'm trying to wonder who's his other customers. Because you can't always just show up immediately. You can't. It's impossible. So I worried. So catch what is making your customer angry. Try to deal with it the very best you can. Try to smooth that over time. Once your customer moves to upset, you got a whole different set of rules. Your best bet really in that role is probably try to get your work finished as best you can, communicate as best you can, let the customer rant and leave. And then have somebody inside your company, if you're the tech doing the work or whatever, follow back. Follow back with the customer a day or 2 later. Maybe that, rate that was up here has suddenly went down to here and they're in a calmer mood to talk. But you got to review the situation. Have someone in your company who's very good with talking to the customer, who can listen and who can talk. But your key issue and what you want is, how do I fix this when they're first angry so that I don't move them to the upset line? Because once they get there, now it's really hard to get it back. And you may never get it all back. So focus on that one item. Explain to them what happened. If they were the 7 o'clock call and you're working on a piece of equipment, they want you to stay till it's finished. That's how it works. You gave 9 o'clock as an estimate. You had to stay later on your first call and then come to theirs. They wouldn't want you leaving if it was the other way around. Explain how that works as best you can. And then move on with getting your work done. Quickly, professionally, don't give them any other reason to be mad on top of the initial issue that made them angry. Angry is typically temporary. Upset can linger for a long time, a really long time. So take your time, get it done right. Don't let anger lead into this, because typically anger is short-term and fixable, but being upset could cost you business. And it's a very difficult way to go. So always focus on anger and how can I make it better as quick as I possibly can. That's our conversation today, the difference in anger and upset. Thank you very much for listening. Look forward to seeing you next week.